good practice today. Kids have had a great week of work, and really looking forward to Friday night. Should be a great atmosphere, electric atmosphere. Good Utah team coming in, top 10 team, and worthy of their ranking. And always a big game when you get to play a Coach Whittingham team. They'll always come in prepared, and we look forward to the challenge and can't wait till Friday night. So with that, I'll take any questions that you got.
Will Amon-Ra be available on Friday?
He practiced today. He looked good, and we'll play it by ear. But he went out there today, felt really good, felt a lot better than the first couple of days, just a sore foot. But we'll lean on where he's at tomorrow and his confidence, and then make a decision.
Is that Velus who kind of would play if
We've really right now Velus is helping Pitt out at the outside position with his speed. You have Amon-Ra inside, Drake inside, John Jackson inside, and you got Tyler and Manir on the outside right. So all those guys will have to help us, and they'll do a great job. They're all ready to go.
Any chance Greg Johnson will be out there? Or is that
Yeah, he's medically cleared. He's ready to go. He's practiced the last couple days, has looked really good, and he's ready to go for us.
What about Isaac Taylor-Stewart?
I probably questionable at best right now. We'll see where he is over the next couple days, but that'll be he'll have to get medically cleared first.
What is it with him?
Just concussion protocol.
I think Chris Steele would step into his spot if
Chris has played a lot of ball and played, basically game 2 and 3. If you go back and watch that tape, man, he's been lights out. So, we have Elijah Griffin, we have Chris. We've got some young kids that are ready to step up. Greg can always go back outside. Max Williams is getting healthy and looks really good. He's available for this week, which is great. So we're getting we've lost a couple and we've gained a couple, and so getting Greg back and getting Max back was great.
What's Christian Rector's status?
He's fighting through the ankle. He's practiced this week. I'm going to sit down with him tomorrow and kind of visit with him, see where he's at confidence-wise. He's been medically cleared to practice and play, but there's also a confidence level. You're a 275-pound man that's leaning on another 300-pounder going full speed. There's a difference, and so he and I will sit down tomorrow, see where it's at, and it'll be more of a game time decision.
Well, it seems like there's been a couple mistakes here and there on special teams. I know Coach Baxter earlier this week was kind of dismissive, so sort of just suggested they were fluky plays. In terms of the special teams, where do you feel like those units are at right now, or how do you feel they've
we've had some big plays, and when you look at the first 3 games, some really explosive plays that have changed games. I think of Bayless's kickoff return in the first game, and all of a sudden, that's probably the difference in that game. You think about the blocked field goal with big Austin Jackson coming in there. I think about a 52-yard field goal by Chase. So we have done a nice job with our coverage units. Really haven't given a pitch to hit basically on punt. On kick cover, we've let one out. We have let one out that led to a score. But I think we are progressing. It's not perfect right now. But Coach Bax has got it going in the right direction, and there's been some huge plays. You want your special teams to be special, and when you look at making the plays that they've made, the big plays they've made in the first 3 games, that's what you want, and then the consistency of making sure that they don't get the big play, and that's what you want your special teams to get done.
Knowing that Keaton might be under more pressure in this game, what have you talked to him about looking for?
He's been very decisive, Adam, with his decision making. I've been really impressed with that, and he does. He's not scared to pull the trigger. That's for dang sure. He's got no conscience and no fear, and that's a special thing. I think that's what makes the difference between the great quarterbacks. JT has it, Keaton has it. Those guys, they got it. They pull the trigger, and they're not scared to release the ball. And so for me, it's take the same approach you took for Stanford. Take this of we say reads are sacred, and don't get bored. Do the same thing over and over and over again, and don't guess. And he's probably already talked to you about there were some times that he guessed and he locked in, and that's a young quarterback does that, and you grow from it, and you go to the next game, and I would be shocked if he doesn't have a great game in this game. I really think that he's ready. He's had a great week of practice. You could tell his jaw's set. He's fired up to go get back out on the field and prove something. So that's usually a good thing with a young quarterback, that they're excited to get back out there.
I guess Graham said he kind of protected Keaton in the second half up there. He kind of, didn't go all out with him after the 2 interceptions. How does that work?
I don't know if it's protection, Dan, rather than just being smart that, taking what the defense gave you. When you're facing a team that's just dropping every time and just basically rushing 3, you got to be disciplined enough to mix in the run and stay balanced. And we actually ran that ball. We ran the ball more than we threw in that. And I thought Keaton settled down nicely and really. After that, had a nice spell of just protecting the football, whether it was running it. He checked the ball down to the backs, I think, 6 times in that game, if I'm right. Didn't stop when the opportunity was there, pulled the trigger, and when it wasn't, didn't. And just, in overtime, got locked in. We got locked in on that last 3rd down. So I thought it was a smart play, really, by Graham to be able to say, you know what, this is what the defense is doing. We've got good backs. Let's use all 3 of them, and we did, and ended up rushing for 170.
Ever a thought that if you're going to really have to run the ball, that maybe even consider a quarterback who can run it a little bit, where you.
Well, Keaton's very athletic, and can do that. There will be times that Graham can go to some of that if he wants to. But one of the things that we've got to be careful of, Dan, you're sitting here with 2 scholarship quarterbacks, and the availability to how much do you want to run the quarterback, because he's 1 hit away from being out, and now you're down to 1. So we've got 3 really talented backs right now that I think are doing a really good job both running the ball and out of the backfield. So we're leaning a little bit more on them and protecting the quarterback as much as we can.
There's been a lot of talk about the pay-for-play bill here in California. How do you feel that would impact running a football program in the state?
That's way above my pay grade, to be honest with you. I know it is a huge topic of discussion right now, and not only in the state of California, but nationally. I think other states have talked about coming up with a similar bill. It sounds like it's not going to be available till 2023. So I hope in that time, I think college football is the greatest game there is out there, and I would hope between the NCAA and a bunch of great state legislatures, that they'll find a way, a medium that keeps everything intact and do that. But my job is wins and points, so I'll stick to that, and I'll let people that are a lot smarter than me worry about politics.
Is Keenan Kristen, do you have any plans for him this year?
Keenan, Keenan is one of those kids that I can see getting some opportunities as we progress later in the season. I love his speed and what the looks that he's giving our defense right now, the plays he's making in 7-on-7 and things like that. He's a great runner as well as a guy out of the backfield. And I go back to that rule, Scott. The best rule we've had in my career is the 4-game rule. And, this is our 4th game. And between our personnel department, our coach staff, we're actually sitting down this Sunday after our 4th game, and basically saying, okay, this is where we're at. This is how many games each kid has played. I have a huge spreadsheet that has how many plays each player played offensively, defensively, and special teams wise. So you can address the issue if a kid's maybe only playing 7 to 8 plays and he's played in 4 games. You got to make a decision to either fully commit or pull back. Or there's a kid that hasn't had any games. Man, he's going to be ready for us in November just in case we have some injuries. I go back to Malik McLean and Elijah Winston when we did that, and they weren't quite ready to go yet. And then November, man, they helped us out, especially when we had some injuries. So there's all different stories. There's all different stories that are out there for each player, and each situation is different. And you make the decision that one is best for the team, but also best for the kid. And there's situations like Connor Murphy and Caleb Tremblay that, man, it was to their advantage, to redshirt, and now they're redshirt juniors and they're contributing, So we try to do what's right by our student athletes as well as not sacrificing the team within it.
How much did you are the early plays on offense scripted? How much?
Say it one more
How
time.
far along in the game are the plays scripted when you start?
Graham, I think, does a great job. He gets input from the offensive staff as well as what he's seen. And I actually saw it today. They got all the plays on the board, and then he dots the ones that he feels confident in, and those are usually our first 10. We practice those on Friday. We walk through them again on Saturday, so the kids are really confident in them. And you look at what we've done in the first 3 drives, 2 touchdowns and a field goal. Every first drive has been a scoring opportunity. That'll be a great challenge versus a team that only gives up 9 points a game and 239 yards a game, and one of the better defenses in the country. But we look forward to that challenge, and I appreciate the preparation that Graham and the offensive staff put into it. They put a lot into it, and we've had early success with it. Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Appreciate
man.
it.